Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Across Africa, our weekly look at stories from across the continent. I'm Georgia Calvin-Smith, and this week, northern Nigerian communities who've lost faith in struggling security forces' ability to protect them are increasingly setting up vigilante groups to battle insurgents and gangs themselves. Also, rap is gaining a growing following in Egypt, and although the scene's still overwhelmingly dominated by men, women are increasingly amongst those expressing themselves loud and proud through the genre. And deforestation, poaching, and even pylons. Kenya's birds of prey are increasingly falling victim to encroaching human activity, and despite conservationists' best efforts, some fear that the decline of population numbers may no longer be reversible. But first, frustrated with authorities' failure to rein in the number of kidnappings and attacks that have shaken their communities, more villages in northern Nigeria have seen locals set up vigilante patrols. Civilians feel forced to protect their neighbourhoods themselves as security forces struggle to stretch their limited resources to look out for remote communities targeted by gangs. Take a look.
It looks like a military training. This group of men and women are getting ready for a night patrol. They're in Nigeria's northern city of Kaduna, just 100 kilometers from where 300 school children were recently kidnapped. This local vigilante group, called Civilian Joint Task Force, was formed to protect local communities from armed terrorist groups.
I was also kidnapped, and as a victim, I was taken to their camp and I spent a week in the camp. It was not a funny experience. I was really beaten, threatened to be killed.
These vigilante groups believe they have an advantage over state security forces. They're often more familiar with the territories and forests where armed gangs operate. But for this terrorism expert, most of them are inadequately equipped.
If you don't control these guys that are carrying arms to protect their community, I think criminal elements will capitalize on that opportunity and explore that opportunity in their criminal enterprise. So I think the government should, give these guys effective training. If need be, they want to permit them to carry out arms.
But as these groups are about to step into the night, despite their lack of resources, they remain committed to protecting their communities in these difficult circumstances.
In southern Algeria, a traditional irrigation system relying on groundwater is still being used to perpetuate greenery in what otherwise would be desert. The Fugara rely on specially constructed galleries that direct water to palm groves and oases using techniques over 800 years old.
In the bowels of the earth, Abdelhamid finds his way. His task is to inspect the well that channels groundwater to the surface, an ancestral irrigation system known as the Fugara.
This is the largest and longest Fugara in the wilaya of Timimoun in the Gurara region. This heritage that we have here was built by our ancestors nearly 800 years ago. They built these tunnels with their hands.
In those days, the task was performed by slaves. Today, workers have to dig down to a depth up to 30 meters to remove the sand or earth by hand when a well's pipe is blocked. The water is then used to irrigate oases or fields, as these farmers.
This water comes from where it is collected, which is the source of division and distribution of the water. The water then flows into the orchard, where the reservoir is filled. The farmer then takes his share of the water according to the agreed division. Each farmer receives the water that is sufficient for his orchard, depending on the surface area, where the orchard is large or small.
The know-how of the workers in these Fugaras is inscribed on a list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. For now, the tradition carries on. For some, it's still a miracle. The Fugara keeps oases growing in the middle of the desert.
Now, rap's gaining more of a following in Egypt, and although the scene's still overwhelmingly dominated by men, more women are raising their voices to bring a fresh perspective to the scene too. Claire Mvala has more.
In the gardens of this Cairo university, 21-year-old Doreen spits her bars.
Rap gives me a space to express myself freely. There's a sense of freedom in the lyrics of rap. There's freedom overall.
The young rapper is a native of Alexandria, a city that's produced most of the country's hip-hop stars. In her latest album, Kawabes, Nightmares in Arabic, Doreen talks about the ordeals she went through following breakups. But she doesn't only rap about her personal life, she also tackles gender issues, a real problem in the patriarchal Egyptian society.
I feel that maybe they don't take us seriously, perhaps assuming that as women, we don't encounter significant challenges. However, it's quite the opposite. Women often face twice the obstacles that men do. If your problem as a guy is struggling to make ends meet, we girls are facing harassment generally in life.
Fatih is also a rapper. She says the women trying to make it on the up-and-coming scene get constant backlash from men.
We get criticized a lot. We get insulted. They make fun of us. I really hope that changes. I'm not talking about myself, but a lot of girls get affected by that criticism. They wonder why they're insulting and making fun of us.
Like many other sectors in Egypt, the rap scene is still very male-dominated. Doreen and Fatih are some of the pioneers taking down the status quo and fighting for a piece of the action.
And Morocco's 13th Festibaz festival wrapped up this month after having given visitors a chance to publicly celebrate that noblest of animals, the donkey. The mountainous community of Beni Ammar relies a lot on the pack animals, and so the celebration is an opportunity to appreciate an animal that too often gets some undeservedly bad press. Take a look.
Although I haven't had the honor of participating in this competition before, I feel very special. My donkey, which I trained and I fed with care, won the last race of the festival and another one today. I'm very proud of it. I want to thank everyone who supported us.
The good thing about this festival is that it's considerate to donkeys. When it was launched, some locals and even non-residents were against us. But we've debunked these views.
What a debonair donkey. Now, birds of prey play a pretty vital role in maintaining the environmental health of their natural habitats, but Kenyan wildlife sanctuaries are struggling to protect raptors from the increasingly disruptive effects of humanity.
He is obviously in pain and not feeling very happy, but...
This short-tailed eagle is being treated for a wing injury at the Soysambu Raptor Center. Located in Kenya's Rift Valley, the sanctuary is part of the Soysambu Conservancy, a reserve dedicated to protecting the country's dwindling wildlife. According to a report published by the Peregrine Fund, the continent's raptor population has fallen by 90% over the last 40 years. For the manager of the center, it is too late to save certain species.
Some species are on such a precipitous decline that it doesn't matter if we do put in those conservation initiatives, they will go to extinction. We're too late. There is a sort of a critical point whereby a species on a decline slope cannot be pulled back.
There are many reasons for the raptor decline: deforestation, cattle farming, superstition, or the proliferation of power lines across the continent. For many vets and technicians working with the animals across the country, education is key to their survival.
We have to convince people that not only are they absolutely gorgeous, but also incredibly useful as well.
We can see a lot of change in attitude. We can see a lot of reception has changed with how people view raptors.
Kenya is a major tourism destination famed for its wildlife. The country is focusing its efforts on preserving popular draws such as lions or elephants, but far less money is spent on the protection of raptors.
Come on.
That's it for Across Africa for now. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Till then, take care.
Hello from Venice. We're here for the oldest and largest cultural event in the world, the Venice Art Biennale. Tune in to Arts 24 for the highlights.
Arts 24, presented by Eve Jackson on France 24 and France24.com.
Worldview with Francois Picard. 2 hours of current affairs featuring the debate. Listen to the views that count on all the major international issues.
Join us for Worldview right here on France 24.